Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of This Week in Magic Online Finance. My name is Chaz Andres, and as always, we're going to get started this week with the news. And our biggest story, how could it be anything other than Mark Rosewater's Comic-Con announcement from Saturday night? We now know that the Fall Magic expansion is going to be called Throne of Eldraine, and it's going to be kind of like a Lorwyn by way of Innistrad sort of plane. Grimm's Fairy Tales meets Camelot. I have to admit, that's kind of my jam, and I'm pretty excited for this one. That said, everyone who spent the week buying out fairy staples is probably out of luck. Cards like Secluded Glen and Bitter Blossom went up quite a bit in paper. They increased in price a little on Magic Online, not as much as in Tabletop Magic, but regardless, these were probably premature buys. See, they went up in price because the key art for Throne of Eldraine that leaked prior to the Comic-Con announcement had a couple of fairies on it. People were like, oh, fairies are back, and bought a bunch of fairy staples. Well, now we know that this set is probably not going to have as many fairies as people had expected, so I would expect these cards to, in turn, come back around and lower to their pre-spike prices. Now, Throne of Eldraine may not have a ton of fairies, but I do think it might have Grove of the Burn Willows. Yeah, really! One of the pieces of art from the Comic-Con panel sure looks a lot like Grove of the Burn Willows, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's our rare land cycle in the fall set. Now, Grove of the Burn Willows is just a 4-ticket card on MTGO, so you don't really need to sell your copies if you don't want, but I would start preparing for, fall, as though Grove of the Burn Willows and 4 new friends that are just like it will be the lands we see in the future of Standard. Now, Mark Rosewater also announced that there'll be a new kind of booster pack coming to Magic alongside Throne of Eldraine in the fall. It's going to be called a collector booster, it's going to retail somewhere between $20 and $25, and it's going to come with all sorts of crazy goodies on the inside. We're talking about borderless planeswalkers, new kinds of foils, new frames, and all sorts of promos, and all this wild stuff, and well, if you're anything like me, one of your first questions was probably, can we get these collector boosters on Magic Online as well? And the answer is probably no. I haven't had that confirmed, but Magic Online was neither mentioned in the panel or on the website, so I'm guessing these collector boosters are going to be in paper only, at least for now. That said, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these cards, especially the ones with showcase frames, do make their way into treasure chests at some point, and who knows, if demand is high enough, maybe they will start releasing these boosters on Magic Online. Regardless, I will try and find out more details for you in the future, and I will keep you updated. Let's move on to Gaining Ground, where in Standard it was Finale of Promise, gaining 9 full tickets this week, jumping all the way from 34 up to 43. This is after over a month of steady gains, and at this point, Finale of Promise is easily the most expensive Standard card on Magic Online. So, why Finale of Promise and why now? Well, the reason is actually pretty similar to what caused Arclight Phoenix to be a 50-ticket card for most of the winter. Number one, it's a really good card in a really good modern deck. In fact, it's the same modern deck where Arclight Phoenix lives. 2, fewer people are drafting Standard right now on MTGO because a lot of that has moved over to Arena, which means that the supply of Finale of Promises is actually pretty low, especially compared to other mythics from pre-Arena sets. And 3, all of that pack EV has to go somewhere right now due to set redemption, and of course it's going to cluster in the cards that have the most modern demand because Standard demand is pretty low right now, again thanks to Arena. So yes, it's possible that Finale of Promise is going to drop in price at some point soon, but this 40 to 50 ticket price tag, it's neither unreasonable nor unprecedented in recent Magic Online history. Another Standard gainer this week was Sorin Imperious Bloodlord, gaining 7 tickets from 11 up to 18. And this is a case of something in Core Set 2020 having to be worth money on Magic Online because of set redemption. And, the set doesn't really have any mythics that are really good in Modern right now, not really any new cards at all that are seeing a lot of play in Modern, so that expected value has to sit somewhere, might as well sit in the Mythic 4 of in the hottest new Standard deck. Sorin will maintain its price tag if and only if nothing else from Core Set 2020 really takes off in Modern. If something does, the value will go there, kind of like what happened with Finale of Promise and War of the Spark. But if not, this card can easily maintain a value in the 20 ticket range for a while. Over in Modern, the card that gained the most ground this week was Plague Engineer, which gained about 7 tickets from 10 up to 17, and its price chart is still pointing up. In the post-Bridge from Below Modern metagame, this unassuming little creature continues to gain popularity and power level, showing up in the sideboard of practically any deck that can justify running it, as well as the main deck of some popular choices like Jund. I wouldn't be surprised at this point if Plague Engineer breaks 20 tickets by this point next week, and its long-term future looks bright indeed. I would definitely make sure I had a set of these going forward. Let's move on now to our biggest loser, where in Standard it was Dreadhorde Arcanist, last week's biggest winner, and a card that I still like a lot. Dreadhorde Arcanist peaked at 20 tickets, then it started to fall. It's currently stable around the 15 ticket mark. And to me, the big question here is whether this 15 ticket mark was just, correction for a card that went too high, maybe 20 was out of the question and it should have been a 15 ticket card the whole time, or is this just a blip in the radar on Dreadhorde Arcanist's journey toward the 25 to 30 ticket mark? Honestly, I'm going to bet on the latter still. I'm going to double down on my prediction from last week, and it's that this card has a ton of eternal demand. It's going to be a great long-term hold. I'm not going to sell my playset just yet. So I'm not sure what this card's going to do over the short term. It may even continue to drop. But I really like this card's long-term profile, and I expect it to be stable above 20 tickets at some point this year. Let's move over to our biggest Modern loser, where this week it was Hexdrinker, dropping 6 tickets from 15 down to 9. Much like with Dreadhorde Arcanist, I'm betting on a rebound here. Not only does Hexdrinker actually see a lot of play in the current build of Modern Jund, which is an Ascendant deck, but its price chart has actually already started to rebound. I wouldn't be surprised if Hexdrinker shows up at some point in the 20 ticket range again, maybe as soon as next week, depending on how well it does at the big Modern tournament next weekend. If you're looking for a nice buy low window on this one, this might be your last chance, and I definitely wouldn't sell any of my copies at 9 tickets. Now, the sneak of the week this week isn't a single card. Instead, it's the staples from the banned Hogaak Bridge from Below deck. Cards like Hogaak, Vengevine, Gravecrawler, Blackcleave Cliffs, etc. These cards tanked really hard once Bridge from Below was banned. Some of them lost more than 80% of their price, and that really shouldn't have happened. I mean, yeah, they should have dropped off somewhat, but they're all really good cards in their own right. They found other homes in Modern, and spoiler alert, there's still a pretty good Hogaak deck out there. Might not be the best deck in the format like it was before the banning, but it is still quite good. I would expect these cards to continue rebounding, albeit slowly over the next couple of weeks. They've already regained a lot of their value, and I expect that trend to continue. Let's end the week by taking a look at the MTGO Traders sales data over the past 7 days. And as always, this gives us a great sense of which cards are buying and selling the best right now, regardless of price increases or decreases. Looking at overall sales by volume, Leyline of the Void was again one of our top sellers of the week, selling even better than last week, which I didn't even think was possible. Now, last week I told you this card was on the cusp of a major rebound, that it was going to rebound higher and faster than you probably thought, and that's exactly what's been happening. Last week you could pick up Leylines of the Void for around 6 tickets, now they're up to 10 and continuing to rise. This card is back up on its way to at least the 15 ticket mark, if not higher. It is definitely a card you should be picking up now. Honestly, you should have picked them up last week, but if you haven't, definitely don't hold off any further. This one is going to rebound in a big way. Not a lot of people are drafting Core Set 2020 on Magic Online, remember, so the available supply is low and the demand is very high on Leyline of the Void. Looking at overall sales by price, it was Renin 6 in that number 1 spot again, followed by Force of Negation in that number 2 spot, just like every week for the past month. The difference this time around is that Renin 6 sold more than twice as well as Force of Negation. Seriously, tons of people are buying this card at 80 tickets, and I'm seeing some signs that it should be even higher. Yeah, this one may be heading back up to 100 tickets, may even get up to 120 tickets depending on how well it does at the big Modern tournament next week, so definitely keep an eye on Wrenn and 6 going forward. It could be primed for another crazy gain. I will let you know as soon as I have any idea of what's going to happen to this one. And that's all I've got for you this week. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Chaz Andres, and I will see you again next Monday morning for another episode of This Week in Magic Online Finance.